Assalamu alaikum. We begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and thanking Him. I want to really thank first of all the brothers who facilitate and allow us to be able to bury our dead with decency and according to Islam. The Muslim cemetery here, and I want to thank them for allowing us to use their facilities here today. And I want to thank you guys for showing up and showing an interest in trying to learn a little bit about this area from our religion. How many of you have ever participated in bathing a dead person? By show of hands. So we have a few. And for most of us, this is not something that we will do very often. It's probably going to be a once in a lifetime where you're going to bathe mom or something like that, you know. It's like showing up on Arafah. Only one day you go there and that's it. So, but it's really important that those of you who can, especially among the sisters, because we have a lot of shortage with sisters who are able to bathe the dead. And so I'm very happy to see so many sisters. And we want young people. Now, bathing the dead is a very difficult thing. You get squeamish, it's not easy, especially if you know the person that you're bathing for. Sometimes it gets very difficult. We have seen people who faint away. My own dad, when my brother passed away, he literally collapsed. You know, so you will find different reactions. So it is not something very easy. Now, we're going to go through several things today. We've given you handouts so you have at least something to go with after. We'll email it. We didn't expect so many people, alhamdulillah, so we didn't have enough handouts today. Just share with what you have. The first thing you do when you have someone, we have several ways people die. Sometimes people have a prolonged sickness. And so the family sees them, they go to the hospital, you visit them, and the doctor may say, well, they have 2 months to live. And so you actually get a chance to prepare for the passing of this person. And so you're there at every step. And in that kind of a situation, it's very good because the family gets to prepare and organize themselves for this person when they eventually pass. But there are other times when it happens very suddenly. You know, someone is in Orlando in a car accident, boom, you get the information, your relative has passed away in Orlando. You have no control over anything. You don't even know where the body is going, what happens to it, and all of that. And so we have these different scenarios. Now, if you happen to be at the hospital when someone is passing, there are several things that you need to be aware of. First of all, immediately when the doctors and nurses will inform you that this person has passed. Part of some of the angst or difficulties that families have is, do we pull the plug or don't we pull the plug from this person? They say, look, this person, the only reason they're alive is because they're on this machine. And that we can't continuously keep them on the machine. You guys have to make a decision what you want to do. And then the family goes to war. Half of the family says, we have to prolong life as long as possible. The other family says, this is not life. This is a vegetable and a machine. They're not coming back, according to all the doctors. And so it becomes a very difficult moment for families to make that decision. I had a case in New York in which one family, the grandma was on a machine, and doctor says she has 2 weeks. They decided that they're not going to pull the machine. And then eventually one of the grandsons says, let's pull the machine. They pull the machine and grandma recovered 2 weeks after. Strong, alive, still alive. So sometimes the doctors are making the best guesstimate based on technology, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who really is in charge of how long you will stay on the earth. So it's a difficult decision, but your family needs to be on board together. Don't let this moment be a moment of disunity for your family. Now, if you're in the hospital and your family passes away, there are several things you need to immediately inform the nurse. They will tell you your family has passed away. Your immediate concern has to be to start to prepare this person for burial. So sometimes the eyes follow the soul. And so when a person dies, they would look up like this, and sometimes you'll see their eyes gazing upwards. You immediately close their eyes. Okay? You take your hand and you close their eyes. Sometimes their mouth drop. Right? So you have to make sure that you can get the mouth to go and tie it. So you ask the hospital. Sometimes they have these tape that they use, Band-Aid tape. So you get something where you can tie, and you tie the mouth, chin as close as possible to keep the mouth in, because rigor mortis is going to set in, and whatever, in a very short time, whatever position that dead is in is going to remain stiff as ever. And you can't move it after that. So that's the moment when you want to be able to tie the chin up here. If the hands are out, or sometimes they have machine on them and so on, you try to straighten the hand as much as possible to the side of the body. All right, sometimes there's swelling of the thing. You can also tie a cloth to keep the stomach from enlarging up, and then try to tie the toes and the ankles together so that the body is more or less like this. Right, mouth closed, eyes closed, hands down, feet together. So this is the adopted position. Sometimes you can't do it. Sometimes the person have arthritis, and you do the best you can to get to this position. If it's very hard to move, don't force it, because you may end up breaking their arm or something like that. So you don't want to force it. You do the best you can to do that. And remove all jewelry, all kinds of rings and this and that from the body. The hospital people are going to come. They're going to remove all the tubes and everything from the body. When you get to the burial itself, when we get to the bathing itself, the person who is bathing the dead will also remove. Sometimes there's like an abscess here, and they have to put a plug, and they have different things, and they have Band-Aid that they miss and so on. At that time, person bathing dead will take out all the other stuff. Sometimes they have this little thing they paste on to EKG and all that stuff. So, but in the hospital, you just want to basically get the minimal preparation for them to. You need to immediately inform the hospital that which funeral home you're associated with, so that they can make arrangements to begin to pick up the body. The hospital will only keep the body for a very short time. They're very packed. So immediately inform the nurses. That's why when you're preparing for someone to die, you've got to have all these already in place. So you tell them we're associated with Fred Hunter, we're associated with Muslim Cemetery, here is the contact number, call them so that they can arrange to pick up the body and take it to the funeral home. So when you see the dead pass away in the hospital, it's a moment, I know you're in a moment of grief, but your focus has to be on making sure you're doing for the deceased. It is about the deceased. Later on, we'll get to you. It's not about you screaming and shouting and you lost someone. It is trying to do your duty for this person as they are leaving the world, and you want to make sure you do your right duty by them. Now, on our form, we have many contact numbers here. We have given you Fred Hunter's number. We have given you their address. We have given you Muslim Cemetery address. We have given you Brother Ghulam's number, who is in charge of this facility, that you can call. And Tom, who is the funeral home associated with this funeral home that actually goes and picks up the body and delivers it, and funeral director. So you have his number there too. And then you have Nur Ul Islam, and Nur Ul Islam is myself and Brother Bill. You can call any of us, and we will facilitate helping you with all of that. We even show up at the hospital. If somebody is about to pass away, we'll come there based on our schedule and be with you and help you facilitate all of that process. At Nur Ul Islam, we have a full-fledged, we do even do grief counseling from A to Z. So you have these numbers there, and then you can contact them. Now, there are some very important things as part of preparing for the dead. Number one, immediately have, or even before, who is the point person that is dealing with the affairs of the family. Because we don't deal with 3, 4, 5 people. We have had that problem in the past. So the uncle calls and says, I want so to happen. Then the auntie calls and says, well, I want it to happen this way. Then the cousin and the brother, and we're dealing with 3, 4, 5 different people, and we're not sure who wants what to do. We had a funeral here. 3 of the kids were Christians, 3 of the kids were Muslims, and the Christians kids wanted to bury their father in Christian, the Muslim kids wanted to bury their father in Muslim, and they're calling us and bombarding us with what we're doing and so on. We immediately, when you call us, we will ask you, who is the point person. Now, we don't talk to anybody else from the family. We only deal with that one person that you say is the main person. So your family has to be able to know who is the talking person for us. And that person will convey to the family what is happening. So we're only talking to one. So make sure you have one point person. Immediately upon, even if you're a person, now you're not at a hospital, your family is at home and they pass away. The same thing. You do the same procedure. And in some cases, you need to call 911. You need to call the police to come, because sometimes they need to investigate whether there's a crime. And then you need to call the funeral home so that they can come. So you begin, your mindset have to be when someone passes away, how do I deal with organizing the burials and the janazah and so on. Now, don't delay burying the dead unnecessarily. You will have families who didn't come for 2 years, they didn't see the person. And as soon as they pass away, hold them for me, come in. I got the flight 3 days from now. You know, and so you have this issue. They didn't interested in them their whole life, but as soon as you die, suddenly they want to come. So Islam recommends that you should bury the dead as early as possible. Okay, so don't unnecessarily wait for families to come and to come in and so on. Okay, so once the body has passed away, that is the moment we have to do our duty to bury them as early as possible. Once you have secured, you will have to go down to the funeral home and make the arrangements. They will ask you for money, and then you will make arrangements what time you want to bury, what date we want to bury, and so you make those arrangements and make all of that. And then we have several masjids, ours have, I think Jamaat al-Muttaqeen have, where we can help you to announce the passing of the person and the date of janazah and the time of janazah and so on. So that we can have it boomed out to the community that this person's going to be buried at 12 o'clock and so thing. Now, when you call the person to do the announcement, that's another thing which, for example, someone will call me and I will say, you're not the official person to make the announcement. We have had someone who took it upon himself to announce the death of someone, and the guy was alive in New York. You know, so he heard that he was passed away because somebody in our masjid decided to stand up and say, oh, Uncle so-so passed away. And Uncle so-so heard back that he had died. So he had to call from New York and said, no, I'm not dead, I'm still alive. You know, sometimes we get, you know, so before we do that announcement, we have to make sure that it's a correct person we're talking to, it's a close family, they're authorized to do that, because we're putting ourselves out making this announcement and we don't want to get caught making false announcements or wrong announcements. So we will ask you several questions, exactly the time, the funeral, what arrangements and so on. Who is the relative? Is there someone known in the community that this person is connected to, so we can mention their name so more people will come to the janazah by knowing, you know, so-so's family has died and so on. Your family also needs to decide who is doing the janazah for you. It is recommended that the family members should do the janazah as a first priority. Okay, so you have to decide, and the person who you decide on, and also who is going to be going to bathe the deceased from the family. We always recommend family members come and help. You don't, part of this seminar now, you'll be educated how to do that, but even if you don't know how to do that, there will always be a qualified person, inshallah, in our community who will help you, guide you there, and assist you to do that. If you're going to have any other program, then you need to let the community know. Now, generally, viewing the dead is not a recommended practice in Islam, that we open the dead for everybody to view them after and so on. So we don't include that as part of our announcement. So you will have to network that with your family, because we're not going to announce that there's going to be viewing of the dead and so on. Some people come and say, well, Islam doesn't allow that. Why are you announcing this to the community?
5 minutes with embalming, right?
Okay. Now, really important for the family, never, and for the Muslim community, we have an adab says don't speak ill of the dead. When a person passed away, you only speak good things about the فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَصْمُتْ. Either speak good or keep quiet. We don't speak ill of the dead, no matter how bad the person is. You find one good thing that they did or two good things in their life, and you talk about those things only. We don't speak ill of the dead. The other very important thing for the family is don't start to blame anybody. You know, my uncle passed away because they were staying by you and you guys neglected to do, you know, family go through this. You know, and they blame each other and you can't undo that again. You know, I have one family member, he was passing away and they were waiting for his son from Palm Beach to come. And they're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. He had some engagement that 2-3 hours he still wasn't showing up. And I was right there watching. And when he finally showed up, it was too late. They never ever forgive him again. He became like an outcast for the family. Just because of that one major problem that he didn't show. So you've got to be able to forgive your family. Don't have feelings of guilt. Allah decides when we pass away. No matter what you did or could have done, this was the time of that person. So you want to be able to focus on not blaming, but forgiving and stop feeling guilty about whatever you may or may not have done. This was the time for the person. And lastly, we want to focus on protecting the legacy of that person. We want to spend time, it is about this person, not about you. You will get to grieve later. It is about getting very quickly to that. Lastly, I want to mention that the people who go to make the ghusl usually should be somebody who is trustworthy and honest, because when you go there, whatever you see whilst you're making the ghusl, you're not allowed to reveal, oh, you know, uncle had a tattoo on the belly or something like that. You know, you are not allowed to reveal whatever you may see there whilst you're bathing the dead. So you need confidential people, honest people from the family. They don't necessarily have to know the procedures, but if they know, it is an asset to get someone who know how to bathe the dead. Sometimes we have janazah and the child wants to do the janazah, but they're not qualified to do it. And they say, but I want to do it. I'm going to memorize everything in 2 days. It's not as easy as that, because if it's your father you're praying for, in that moment, no matter how good you are, sometimes you'll forget everything because you're crying, you're grieving, your brain is moving in different ways. And so sometimes, so if you're not very confident, you don't just go up and take the position. So we need trustworthy people who are Muslim. Male bathe the male, female bathe the female. If it's a young child, male or female can bathe the child. One of the school of thought allows husband to bathe their wives. There's a difference of opinion about this. Some of the schools of thought consider as soon as your wife or your husband died, they're considered stranger to you. And then the other opinion says no, that you're allowed to bathe the dead. So, Brother Ghulam is... So I'll ask Bill to add a few things, and we're going to talk about embalming also a bit.
I'm going to touch on the subject of embalming. And the reason is that a lot of people, once they pass away, the family members decide that they want to send the body somewhere, in our case like Pakistan or Middle East, or you know, you get Guyana or Trinidad and things like that. In order for them to ship the body, they have to do some processes, okay? And those processes are not really recommended by religion, okay? First of all, just think the reason that they have to do these processes is to stop the body from deteriorating, okay? Because once a person passes away, all the defensive mechanisms that are keeping the person in one piece are all gone. So every single bacteria, virus that can attack you is attacking you. And there's no defense system, so it's total chaos. In order to stop the processes, they have to put embalming fluid, which is basically formalin, which is a poison. Okay. How do they do it? What they do is, first of all, they have to make a hole in the abdomen, in the abdominal wall, and they take a long rod and poke you inside. And the reason for that is all the excrement that are in there, the stool and all that stuff, they hit the bladder, everything that is there needs to be taken out as much as possible. Okay. Once they do that, then they do is, for men, they cut them here and access the subclavian artery and subclavian vein and circulate the embalming fluid there to make sure that every single part of the body has the embalming fluid. Now, If it's a delayed factor that somebody passed away and by the time they got to the embalming facility and there's been a day or so and rigor mortis has set in or something like that, then they have to massage the whole body. You know, when we do our ghusl and everything, for men we cover from above the belly button to below the knee. There is no such thing. Okay. So they have to massage the whole body to relax the muscles so they would accept the embalming fluid. Once they are done, they circulate the embalming fluid to the body to make sure every single orifice, every single organ, everything has embalming fluid in it, so the body would not decompose. The other thing that they have to do is they put a cream on top of the skin, because the circulatory system takes care of the internal part, but the outside it does not. So they put a cream on. So in reality, when you give somebody a ghusl, you're not washing them because the water is just running off. Now, in the case of women, in order to embalm, they go through the groin. They have to cut them up here and access the femoral artery and femoral vein. Now, why the differences? Is because the people who do the embalming, they're not doing it for Muslims. They're doing it for people who, Christians or secular religion or whatever. Okay. In that situation, when they dress a man, he's wearing a suit and a tie. His neck is closed. So if I make a cut here, you can't see it. But for the women, they put a dress on. So you're able to see the breast and the cleavage and all that stuff. So they cannot cut over here because that would be visible. So they have to go into the groin. That is why we keep telling people not to, especially women, do not send the body anywhere, because by the time it gets to your country or wherever you are, a week passes. You have to have, in order to send somebody, you have to have a certificate that this person does not have a communicable disease. Okay? You have to have a certificate that the body was properly embalmed, has to have an embalming certificate. You also, in certain circumstances, you require a medical examiner's approval to send the body out. Because in case there is an issue, legal issue afterwards, they have no access to the body. See, here if the problem happens, the medical examiner can come and say, listen, exhume this body or whatever the case may be. But if it's going out of the country or if it's getting cremated, you have to have a permission from the medical examiner. Then you have to get a permission from the embassy. They want to look at the passport. There are certain requirements that you have to meet. By the time you get all that done, 3 or 4 days pass, then you take them to the shipping company. Then it stays there until the flight that is going to take it is available and take it there. By the time it gets home, it's 7 days. No two ways about it. Okay? So, the best thing to do is we should all actually make out a will that what is it that you want done with your body. If you want to be chef, that's fine. It's up to you. But the thing is this, that once you pass away, there are people who are making decisions for you that you may not want. So it's very important that you make a will out, you designate a person that you trust. You designate actually 2 people. So if the first person is not available, the second person can get in and take care of things for you. Okay? Any questions? Jazakallah.
Thank you, Bargan. The other thing, something is very important we all should remember is autopsy. That is something that each and every one of us could have a dialogue with our doctor and physician, and by doing that, you will avoid autopsy, because a lot of time, the cause of death, we don't have any control of that, and when the state get involved and they have to do it, and some simple documents you can have prepared through your doctor that you can avoid that. Because as the same thing Brother Ghulam saying, when they're doing an autopsy on a person, they don't look at Muslim or non-Muslim. They just, to them it's a carcass in front of them and they just cut it up how, and we see something here sometimes is very gruesome. So that is something that the family should always, in touch with the doctor, and they can avoid something like that. So.
Before we go in the room to actually show how we bathe the dead, I want to emphasize 2 points Brother Ghulam mentioned. Really important that, in essence, what he's saying, don't embalm the body. Look, we have tried to bathe an embalmed person. It's like a plastic doll. It's stiff. You don't feel like you're making ghusl on this body. As soon as you add the water, it just runs off, as he mentioned. It's really, really bad. So don't do that, okay? And secondly, make a will. Be very clear how you want to be buried. I'm telling you, myself and Bill do this all the time. Family comes, says, we want you to do the janazah, and then we're going to burn him. We're gonna cremate him, but somehow one of the family wants you to do the janazah. We get all kinds of combinations of things people want us to do, because the family that person didn't make a will. Some of us say, I'm too young for make a will. I think I can see next year. And so we passed away suddenly, and we don't make the will. When you leave here today, write down something on a piece of paper and say, when I pass away, these are the 2 people I want to be in charge. This is how I want to be buried. Write it someplace, sign it, give it to a couple of people so that you have clarity. We have one sister who, every week I go to Juma, she said, Brother Imam, I want you to organize my janazah. I said, sister, you have to put it in writing that what you want. She said, yes, next week I'll give you the paper. Next week came, she said, Brother Imam, I talked to all my family, everybody is on board. I said, you have the piece of paper? No, she doesn't. She passed away suddenly. Within 1 week they discovered cancer. She didn't last for 6-7 days. And then the family never contacted me. I tried to inquire. They did whatever they wanted to do with her because she had nothing authorizing me to even go and talk to the family. So don't treat this matter lightly. It's very important that we do it well. When you bury in Muslim cemetery, it's like $3,500, and even if you can't afford it, the Muslim community find a way to help you. You go to Fred Hunter, you walk in, and you said, I want to bury my dad, it's $15,000. If you want to buy a plot before, it's $8,000. So you're going to go over there and spend $15,000.
Just stop the $8,000.
Just stop the $8,000. $15,000 you have to. That's why it's so expensive to die. Keep living, guys. Right? So Sister Yasmin is going to take the sisters, and Brother Reiaz is going to take the brothers. We have the 2 rooms at the back. They're going to tell you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. All right. One of the most important things when we're doing a ghusl is our safety. A lot of times we get a remain come here. Sometimes we don't know the cause of death, and a person may or may not have some disease. In some cases, the disease don't immediately die with the mayat. Depends on what sort of disease it is. That's why anyone who works in a facility like this, although we are volunteers here, we still have to do classes like an infection disease and these upgraded yearly classes to keep up with all these things. So people sometimes get very emotional and they will come and they want to open up and start doing things. And we don't really recommend that because it's a liability factor. Now we live in America and it's part of our way of life. So it's a liability factor, it's our safety and everything like that. So we usually put on a gown here and we have gloves and everything here, right? I will do it and I'll show you guys how I normally do it. I just do one. I will get to that. I want to do it from the start and so people get a good, clear picture of exactly what happened. No, because the other thing too, when we have, in some cases, when we get a body that have autopsy done, we talk about autopsy there. Some cases the medical examiner will close the body and send it here. Sometimes they will send it open. And it's our job to close the body. When I say open, the whole, depends on the type of autopsy they have, right? The whole stomach area will be open, the skull will be off and everything, you know. So we have to, you know, put things back to, so because a lot of time, if you display a body for viewing and stuff like that, everything has to be in order. So it all, you know, all of these things you got to take into factor. That's why these classes that we do, you know how to handle it there is very important. When we're ready here, we come here now, we always cover the body from the navel to the knee. That's the private part for a Muslim male. That's what's considered the aura, the private part. So at the whole procedure, you'll find, excuse me, one second, let me get this. Who's the tall person in this room, right? Oh, come. Get that tall, please. Is that tall? Okay, pull the whole thing, everything. All of it.
So, Brother Bill, if there is an autopsy, the funeral director pulls up our ears before it gets...
Usually the funeral director or something, myself or something like that, we will
But before the family comes.
yeah, before the family. We're not allowed to allow the family to come in, you know, until the body is more or less looking presentable, because, again, if it's something infectious and stuff like that, you know, our obligation is to think. This is what we always put, right, that this always remain covered throughout the whole procedure. I will need some help to go through this procedure, right? Like the brother asked, if you don't do wudu. Yes, we do wudu. We have to do, you can't do a ghusl and a mayat without wudu. But before we do wudu, we don't know the state of a person when they passed away. Some person, as the life leaving the body, they're in a lot of pain. You see, I don't know if anywhere you can see somebody actually passed away. Sometimes they're in so much of pain that, like Brother Naseeb mentioned, they're seeing the soul leaving the body. Some of them contract, you know, feces get out of them and all of that. So some people lie down in a hospital bed for weeks and weeks, and sometimes the nurses don't clean them properly. So they come here with all sort of conditions. Sometimes they have tube inserted in them and all of that for urine purposes, or sometimes they will have the tube and the bag here for the bowel movement. So they come here with all of those things, right? So we got to close it up. Sometimes you have to actually stitch this hole up, because if we remove the tube, fluid and feces, everything will be coming out. So we have to actually stitch it up back and get it sealed and everything like that. So we always start by washing the private part. We'll take some paper towel or stuff like that. We put the hose underneath here and we wash the private part. We turn the body on the side, like we get some help to hold in the side there, and we wash the bottom area and stuff like that. Sometimes we wash it, you know, as many times as possible until we get a clean rag or clean cloth come out, you know, and stuff like that. So that's like the first step we always have to do.
Wash the private part.
Wash the private part. We also, we press on the stomach. Sometimes, right, so excess fluid and whatever waste matter come out.
When you bring the body from the freezer
Uh-huh.
to this part here,
Uh-huh.
it has to thaw for a while, right?
No, you don't have to towel. There's no towel. Yeah, you can do it there. Yeah, we
When
can.
it's solid.
Yeah, when it's solid. Because, like I said, it doesn't freeze here, you know.
Okay.
This is just a cooler,
Okay.
right? You know, so it's like I said, 30 to 35 degrees.
The body is movable.
Yeah, it's movable, it's flexible and everything like that. So normally we would just press the stomach and raise the head up a little bit, you know, like press it like 3 times. Sometimes stuff come out, sometimes it don't come out. But then we wash back the private areas, right? And then we would start, you know, after we do that, we rinse the whole body, right? And then we start the wudu, right? Right, the wudu now started in, excuse me, let me get in here. The wudu, like when we're making wudu for salah, it's the only difference, we don't do the wrist. You know, we start by washing your hand for salah. With this one, we don't start with the hand. We start with the face. We wash the face 3 times, and then we take cotton and start washing the mouth, you know, in the teeth and stuff like that. Right? That's like how we put water in our mouth and wash our mouth. We will take the cotton and open it as little bit as possible and clean the mouth. We do that 3 times. Everything we do 3 times, right?
So There's no removal of hair or anything, so whatever state you're in, that's it.
Right, right. Now, whatever the hospital leave here on the body, we will have to take it off. Right? Sometimes they leave these AKG patches, anything, tubes, bandage, anything we have to take off, everything. And then we start with cleaning the private parts and start the wudu now. When we start the wudu, there's nothing to be, on the body. Like the brother said, we don't shave, we don't clip hair, we don't do anything like that. It's for men, like a few days ago, we had a case where an African brother passed and he had, with the Rastafarian hair, like, right? Dreadlocks. Right, dreadlocks, right. It is compulsory to unbraid the hair of a male. The women is not necessary. But the men, if a man come in here and the hair is braided, you have to open that. In that case, the way the hair was, we couldn't open it. So the Imam on the side, he said, well, we could clip it and bury it with the person. Right? But because of the type of the texture, the hair and all of that, those are like an exception case, right? So after you wash the face 3 times, you wash the mouth 3 times. Then you do the nostril, the right side and the left side, right? Everything you do 3 times. When you finish the nostril, we take the little bit and plug the nose. You plug it. The reason for plugging it is that when you're doing your washing and stuff, no water go in and cause it more problem with that. Then we go to the hand, like the whole procedure like wudu, from here to the elbow. You wash it both back and front. Make sure you get under the elbow, right? Same thing on that side. Then we come to the head. The head, you get there under the miswak and clean the ear and everything like that. Some cases we plug the ear, sometimes we don't really plug it. Not necessary to plug the ear, but the nose is more or less where water will be going in more often than ever. Then we come to the feet and we do that. When we finish that, we wash the body, entire body, like 3 times again. Now, that's the wudu part is finished here. Then we go to the ghusl. No, you don't have to do. You could be in a state of wudu when you're coming in. Right? Yeah. You could be. It's not compulsory, but it's recommended. So you could be in a state of wudu coming in, and when you finish the wudu, now we wash the body, and then we start the ghusl. The ghusl procedure, we do the right side first, right? Kind of use the middle half of the body. You do the right side first. We soap it, we wash it down and everything. Then we turn the body, wash the back of it. All that time, this body always remain covered. We will put our hand, you can wash the areas, the private areas, everything, but we don't expose the body, right? Then we turn, we always get help, we turn the body in the side, and then wash the back, rinse it, turn it down, then we do the left side, and the same thing repeats itself, front and back and stuff like that. Then we will, obviously dry the body and then prepare it for the coffin. I will show you the coffin in a minute, right? But if you have any question on this part, stop me at any time and let me know. But it's very simple. It only takes like maybe 25 minutes to go through the whole procedure of washing and stuff like that.
Some people have dentures.
If they have denture, we leave it inside.
Yeah,
we leave it in. We don't remove any, thing like that. If it's some cases, they take it out from the hospital and they bring it, we don't put it back in. A lot of times the mouth will be sealed and it's hard to put it back in and stuff like that, because it's hard to expand the mouth and to get it back in, and stuff like that. So we don't interfere with that and stuff like that. If there's, in some cases, depends on where and how and what cause of death, they will have to do fingerprint on a body, a dead person. In case of shipping, like this week we had 2 cases where people came from out of state here for burial. So when they have to do fingerprint, they will have that ink in your hand. Before we even start the ghusl, we have to wash that out. We wash it all the ink as much as possible, because sometimes it's difficult to get everything out. But we make an attempt to get as much out as possible. Some cases you find men with nail polish or whatever the case is, we have to try to remove those things, because it was not necessary, or for men to go like that, try to go as a natural stage as possible. You know? And thing. I will probably want to see if one of you guys will step forward and kind of reenact the procedure that I do. You know, if anybody want to, you know. Yeah. Mickey, you think you have an idea, you have a hang of it? Yeah?
So
Okay.
basically, we should start with wudu, make the body do wudu. I mean, first the private parts, right?
Right.
So make sure you don't uncover anything.
Right.
You know?
Gloves.
Oh yeah, the gloves.
Right. Okay. Right.
Yeah, all of that before.
Mhm.
And you clean it up, and then you push down on the stomach like about 3 times, make sure everything's out.
As you push down, you raise the thing too.
Okay.
So right. You,
just raise it a little bit.
right. You raise from the shoulder and you press. Right.
And then you just clean up everything, make sure it's clean, and then you start with wudu. You start with the face.
Right.
And then you clean the face, you wash the mouth 3 times, or and then the nose, and then you plug it. And once you plug it, and you just go on to his arms, just like how we do wudu. We start from the fingertip to the behind the elbow. Make sure it's all wet, make sure it's all clean, and just everything on the right side until the toes, and even the
Well, after the arm, you do the head, and then the feet. Yeah, you do the wudu.
Oh yeah, finish
Yeah.
so,
Complete the wudu.
So arms, and then head, and then after the head, like muscle over the head, and then feet. And
Right.
you do the right side completely, front and back. After you're done with the right side completely, then you move on to the left side.
Right.
Ghusl.
For the ghusl part.
You have to
Yeah.
separate it.
You're mixing the two up.
So the wudu and then ghusl.
Yeah.
Complete wudu.
Right.
First complete wudu and then ghusl. All
Right. You know, so when you do the head, you go to the feet, left and right. Right. Basically, the wudu is finished there.
Okay.
Then before you start the ghusl, now you rinse the body. You rinse the body from top to bottom.
All right.
Right?
When you do wudu, you don't have to really put on soap and everything, right? It's
No, wudu is no soap is not necessary for
That's
wudu.
for the ghusl.
Right, just for the ghusl. So when you rinse the body, then you start with the soap, and you wash the soap the right side first, turn the body the right side at the back,
Okay.
and then you go to the left side.
What about the head during ghusl?
Well, when you start the ghusl, you start with the head first,
That's it.
and then you go down on the right side of the body. You know?
Don't see if I could follow.
Okay.
Okay, so when the body comes in, as Brother Bill said, that it might have fluid in it, so we got to wash it out first. So we can try to wash the private area first, and the both sides, front and back, to get all that liquid out, or whatever might be there. Then you try to compress the body to exclude all the liquid that might be in the body at a time, and wash it out. Then the next step is to start with wudu. And in this case here, for Mayat, we do the wudu from the face. We wash the face 3 times, and then we wash the mouth 3 times with the cotton, and the nose 3 times, and we maybe insert a cotton on it to avoid water getting back in it. Then we start with on the right side for the wudu, from the finger to the elbow 3 times. We do the left side 3 times. We do the head. We wash the head. Like normal wudu, and then we go down to the right foot 3 times, and the left foot 3 times.
Did you mention 3 times?
Yeah.
Yeah. So wudu
The procedure is 3 times. Yeah.
After that process is finished, we wash the body completely, and then we move on to the stage of ghusl.
Right.
And ghusl starts from right side too.
You start with the head. You wash the head.
Yeah, we wash the head out first.
The head and the face and everything, right? You soap that, and then you go down on the right side.
Okay, and then the right side 3 times.
No, you soap it. So regular, not necessarily
Wash it
3 times.
out, and then we start with the right side for the ghusl, and you move the body over, wash the back side of it 3 times, and then on the left side.
Right. And then you rinse it. The rinsing is where you could do 3 times, but like the soap and stuff like that, just a one-time thing. You know. But when you rinse it a couple of times, make sure everything is off and completely.
The right side would be the right side of the
Yeah, Mayat, yeah, which is this case. I know he was pointing to the left, right? The right side of the Mayat.
One question. When you finish all that, how do you dry the body now?
Right. We use paper towel and we will sap the body. Let's pretend there's a piece of paper towel. We just sap the body. We don't rub it like like you're rubbing your skin, because a lot of times again, some cases you find the skin start to peel in a person, and by rubbing it, it peels out, right? So we will just take paper towel and just pat the body down. The head, the face, turn it and pat the body down. Now, while we're doing that, when we finish that, we dry the table. Always keep, after that, your work area is dry. Then we will change this cloth here, because during this whole thing, this is wet. We will take a next one, but I use this one for both purposes. And then we will flip it, come on this side now, right? And then this will dry the private areas, because it absorbs the thing, right? So this part now, we kind of pat the area, dry the private areas.
You don't move the way you just took it out.
No, we do it.
You took it out, it shows like...
No. I will. Give me one of those. Yeah. Nah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I was trying to avoid not using the next one. But let's put, this is the wet one here, right? We'll put the one like this, and then we'll move this one here. Right? So he or she is comfortable. Right? So that's how that is done. Right? Then now, during that whole procedure, this board doesn't be here. This plastic board doesn't be here when we're doing the washing, right? But what we'll do after that, we will turn the body and then insert this board, because we have to transfer this body over here now, right? So now we're going to do the part of wrapping the body. So I'll show you, excuse me. Yeah, dressing. This is the coffin here, right?
So what you said about the board, at what point do we insert the board? After the body is...
After we wash it and dry it, then we turn the body and put this board underneath, right? I will set up this here now so everybody will see how this is done. But I just pull this table out a little bit.
How much cotton do you actually need? I know I go up here 40 yards. It seems a little excessive. What do you actually need for a body?
Okay, for the coffin we use is 3 pieces for male, right? The yardage, I hear the same thing with the yardage. You need 2 pieces that could cover the person from head to toe, like 6 inches extra on each side. So how many yards will cover, you from your head to toe? So I'll show it to you. We usually, see what we use here? We use it like a bed sheet. We buy it and right, like full-size bed sheet and queen size and stuff. Depends on the size of the person. Just give him to the end there. Okay. This is the center line. So keep this in the center. There. Pull it to you. Pull it to you. Huh?
You spread the sheet here.
Yeah. This is the part.
Put it in the body here, right?
Yeah. No, use this in the center. This one. Yeah.
How many people are in here?
Usually we have me and brother Rafiq and like 3 family members.
Okay, fine.
And some, they're available. We try not to have more than that because. Huh? Ghulam brother Rafiq. Okay. Hold this one. Let me pull the bottom one out. Pull this one. Okay, pull it down to you. Let it drop about 4 and 6 inches.
Take that. An hour?
It take about an hour. Okay, put it on top now.
From Ghusl to the...
Shrouding, yeah. Take about an hour. Okay. This crease here is always the center, right? Okay, so they got the bigger, this is 2 different sizes sheet we use it. So the biggest one is on the bottom, then the other one here. And this is what we call like the kameez, or the shirt part of it.
provide all of this now, bill or?
Yeah, we provide everything. And then we roll this part on top here, okay? Okay. Let's bring this table around here now. Yeah. Right. What we have here, since we are this convenient to making this thing a little easy, because sometimes it's not easy to, sometimes you have some heavy guys, you know? So, this thing is falling apart, so. Well, anyway, the idea now is to get this body over here to over here, right? But in real life situation, there, come here, come here, help me. We hold there now, right? And we will slide it over. Somebody will be on that side to help push, and bring it over here now, right? Always, you know. One second, let me just. They didn't plug it. All right. So this will be covered here like that now, right? So at this point in time now, we're going to roll this body
To the right.
to the right and remove this board here now, right? But yeah. So what I will do here now, I will move there. Okay. I will roll the body over here now. Try to pull that board out of there now. Okay, you could stick that in inside it, or put it back on top. Put it back on top. Right. Right. So this is ready for wrapping now. Come to the end of the table here. Right. So this is why when we roll this part here now, we put it over the head here now, and come down here now. Right.
To cover up everything.
Right. So this is, he's covered now.
Yeah, and then you remove
At
that.
this point now, then you remove this now, right? So again, nothing is exposed, everything is handled with dignity and respect and everything like that. So, right? So now we're going to take from the right side, we're going to wrap it now. You want to help me with that, Anna? Okay. Right?
First sheet.
Yeah, the first sheet there. No, drop that one, you're right? And okay. Right, and you cover on, you put it under the leg now, like how I'm coming here, you put it under the leg here now. Okay? Right. Come back with this side now.
Same thing.
Same thing. Under the, pull as much, and then you go with the other one. No, this one.
First sheet.
No, sure. This one gotta come over here now.
We have a sister in Janazah fire shortage.
Inshallah, okay. All right. Yeah, okay, come. So now we take the other sheet now over here now. Two sheet and the chart. I will open it back and show you, right? But this is how we wrap it. You come, no, you well, the legs, maybe the right. So normally you come and you put it underneath the leg and you have it like this now, right? And so the leg is not so close in. Okay.
This can.
Right. So
you tie it up.
yeah, you tie it here now. You just.
With that string.
I'll tell you about that in a minute. 1 second. Okay, we just put a tie here. This one we just put a simple bow knot because this have to open up back at the grave site. This have to open back at the grave site, right? And the same thing we do here now. Now, in some cases, depends on the family. Like Brother Naseeb said, we don't recommend viewing, but the family always may request viewing for the family members and stuff like that. So we leave this one here and we open this part in reverse, just for the head. Right? Just for the head, and we will show just, this is the viewing. We don't open anything else for the viewing. And when at the end of the viewing, you do it in the same order in reverse, 1, 2, and you come, come like that. Right? Tie it back here. We usually have a tie also for the middle. Try to keep the arms at the side. So we will use this one here now for the middle and work it up here, tie it, and that's it. Right? We, from this now, we will take it to that silver carriage out there, to the janazah, to the burial. Right?
So there's no box?
No, we don't use no box. No, we don't use no box.
What if the family really wants a box?
We don't use it here. We don't use it at this facility. At Fred Hunter, they use a
Okay,
box.
so there's no box here?
Box
Just
is not
go
there.
into the concrete.
Just go into the in the concrete vault, we put a layer of sand or dirt or whatever we have at this time, right? We put that there, and we put the remains there, turn it on the side, pat some under the head, and that's it, right? The box is not ready. It's just for Fred Hunter, it's like $700. That's what the box means to them. In this case, it doesn't. It's not necessary, We can, state law won't permit us to put you direct into the dirt, but when we put you into that vault, we put the dirt into the vault, and that's it.
You put the dirt into the vault?
Yeah, we put some sand into the at the
Oh,
bottom.
okay.
Yeah.
But then you close the lid, and then
Yeah,
the
yeah.
dirt goes on top.
Then the rest of the dirt go on top of it, right? So that's it. Any other questions? I know your brother joined late. I don't know if your dad have any question.
So, I guess back home we also used to put cotton in the private areas, in the back. Is that, you only talk about cotton in the nose, right?
Right. We put cotton in the nose, but before we do this part, what I just did here, we remove the cotton. We don't take you to burial with the cotton.
You say they put cotton
In the private areas, in some cases, if there's leakage, like in cases where a person passed away in the morning and they die in the evening, that body don't have no time of refrigeration. Everything is still like how Brother Ghulam said, all the defense mechanism died. Everything is leaking, right? Depends on situation like that. You will find a body will still be oozing out stuff, right? We wash it 1 time, 5 times, 10 times. It's still stuff coming out there.
Case by case basis.
Right, there's a case by case basis, so we put some cotton there and things like that. But it's not part of the regular ghusl to put cotton in the private areas. Only, and like I said, case by case needs we do that.
Do you use any sweet smelling things or anything?
We have some ether that we would normally put some, it's not, this is a thing like not part of the fiqh or anything like that, but we just put some thing like that, What we normally do, sometimes you put it on, you'll see that people put it in the 7 spot that touch the ground in Salah. There's the 7 spot that touch the ground in Salah. Right? Right. Your hand, your knee, your toes, and that's it. And then sometimes they'll put some in the hand and they will rub it on the cotton. So don't stain one spot,
Make sure it's not alcohol based.
Right, but we use it here, not Versace like,
People
yeah.
bring stuff from home and stuff.
Yeah, people will bring now, the nice part of doing it, ghusl in America, in a facility like this, I'm from Ghana and we are accustomed with one tradition or one school of thought. Over here, we have the experience of visiting all 4 schools of thought. And all 4 have their little customs and tradition that they do, right? But when they come into this part, this is, all agree on this part here. All agree on the, what we just did here. This part, nobody waver, nobody don't have no different opinion in. What they have different opinions, some of them with the perfume and some of them with, want to choose Zamzam water and all of these things, right? Some people bring Zamzam to wash the body with Zamzam, they're fortunate to have Zamzam here and they want to use it like that, we can't tell them no, because these people is in a highly state emotion. You can't, reason with them, so that make you feel better. That's it. More power to you, because at that point in time, it's about them now. It's not about the Mayat anymore. Well, when you see people place flowers in there, it's not about this person anymore. That's to satisfy you who's putting the flowers there. Because the flower is not doing anything for this person. Right? So we also try to encourage people. You don't need to put flowers here because if the lawnman come tomorrow, he's going to remove it. He's not going to know you just bury somebody there and they got to stay there. His job is to cut the grass, and that's in the way, he's going to remove it. So we always advise people, if the flowers cost $5 on a sadaqah could do the brother probably much more. It could tilt the scale in the brother favor. Right? So this is what we always try to recommend people. But, when dealing with people in this high state of emotion, there's no point of reasoning sometimes. Sometimes you just got to leave them and, sad to say it like that, but it is what it is, because you deal with all kind of level of emotions when, people lose someone, And basically that is what the Ghusl and the Shrouding is all about. So, like I said, from here now we place this Mayat in the carriage there and take him over there.
Do you turn the head a certain way at this point, or?
No, we leave him flat just like this. The only way, 9 hold it there for me. The only way where we did hold it, we turn them like this now in the box, right? With a little tilt, and then we put the sand here. We put some sand here to keep him in place. And this is how this person is going to remain in that box, under that cover, and that's it.
They're facing east.
Yeah, well, this will be like this way, obviously, right?
On the right side.
Turn on the right side. So this is how it's going to remain, And then we open all the tie back. We have to open all of these at that point. We open back all of these things. We just unthing it like that and leave it like that. That's all you need. Don't you?
Why you turn the whole body instead of just the face?
No, we turn the body.
Why you turn it? What's the reason?
Because that's how we do it. That's the tradition of doing it.
I heard in Pakistan, I've gone through this thing, but they just turn the face, not the whole body. I've seen it myself.
Right. Well, like I said, we with our thing, we just turn the body.
Why you turn the
Right. Well, that's the way we do it here.
some religious reason?
I could check with the sheikh, I'll let you know.
No, face is only the face.
Right.
Only
Yeah.
the face is to turn, not the whole body.
That's why you pray. Yeah, you pray with your whole body.
You pray with your body face in the
It's probably
Qibla.
different from opinion.
I never seen
Right.
this.
Well, when you
Right.
pray, you just don't turn your face to the Qibla, you turn your whole body to the Qibla. So that's more keeping our tradition.
Right.
So we could ask
Yeah.
Something really is.
But the idea is the body face in the Qibla. That's
There may be times where it's so stiff you can't turn the face by itself.
right. It's sometimes right. There's a lot of times they come like that. Yeah. Because there's a lot of times people passed away, and unless they don't get a family member to sign off and that remain, we can't get the body here. So sometimes that body have to go into the morgue. The morgue now is a freezer. It's not a refrigerator. So you will get a solid hard body like this when you come here, sounding like that. At that point in time, you got to do your best with everything you have here now, and take it over there. And that's it. But that's why we talk about when we talk about a good relationship with your doctor. With autopsy. A living will is always important to have. I mentioned early on. We have close to maybe 600 burials out there, and the average age is under 50. So it's not necessarily old people passing away, right? In the last month, we have more under 40 than over 40 that buried in the last month alone. So a living will is for everybody. It's not for old people. It's for everybody. Whatever you require, whatever you want, you put it in that. Have it signed and notarized and give it to a couple of people who will be around, and hopefully they'll be around when you pass. But you always do a couple to leave it with more than one person. Like when people prepare to go to Hajj, They normally do all these things and leave it to a family member. It's something like that we need to have on a daily basis. There's a little card you're going to have outside. People, we normally give members here to put it in the wallet. People die in accident, right? They don't know what to do, where to go. You know, we get called in the middle of the night from funeral homes that we don't deal with, that such and such person passed away. They are Muslim, but they're not affiliated with no masjid. And the family want a Muslim service. It happens all the time. And we might think that every Muslim affiliated with a masjid, it don't work like that. Only at the time of death, then the family might look for a masjid, right? You know, and then how they're going to find me, Brother Ghulam and stuff like that, because our name is like almost posted in most of the funeral home around South Florida for that reason. You know, for that reason. And surprisingly, you get a call, you know, you got to go. Yeah, they call you that time too. You know.
Yes, man.
I mean, a lot of people don't know these things, you know, but it's not. No, alhamdulillah. No, it's a lot of these little things that, you know, when you go to the masjid, whoever do the khutbah, whatever, you know, that's it. But there's a whole world that happen outside of the masjid that people don't familiar with, you know. And yeah, brother.
What's the thing in the back?
That is a hoist. In some cases we have brothers with like 350 pounds, 400 pounds, you know.
So to get like under the wash underneath?
Actually lift them, yeah. We use those straps to put them, like 4 straps, we put it 4 parts of the body and raise them and jack it up and move it.
You ever use that for it?
Yeah, we use it. You know that saying dead weight?
Yes.
Well, dead weight is not light. It's not light. You know, we have some very, very 350 pound men, women, everybody passes. So, you know, this is one thing, we can't discriminate, you know. Like Brother Ghulam just tell me a sister passed, right? Okay, we come to do the janazah. That sister who come to do the demonstration now, she's going to remain here till 5 o'clock. Because she's not going to go home and come back, right? Or 5:30 the janazah, right? But they're going to start maybe by 3 o'clock to do the ghusl and stuff like that. So when we get a call, we normally get a call 11, 12 o'clock time that there's a janazah. All of us volunteers, you probably know some of them, you guys know them. All of them brothers now have to make whatever adjustment in the daily work to be here. Me and Brother Rafiq, we do the ghusl, so we have to be here first. So we normally come here, when we get a call, we try to get here like 2 o'clock. You know, we try to come for Salat al-Zuhr here and then stay on until time, you know.
What's the
But
latest someone could call you to be buried that day?
you can call us at 3 o'clock in the evening. The point is not what time you call us. We have to get the medical clearance to do the burial. Unless we don't get if this person is sick and in the hospital, and then unless we don't get a doctor to sign off, we can't do a burial. We could do the burial. We do burial here at 9 o'clock at night. We can do burial at 10 o'clock at night. We could do burial at 5 o'clock in the morning, because alhamdulillah, you know, basically we control this facility. This is not Fred Hunter that you have an 8 o'clock at 4 o'clock thing, right? But we have to still wait on the medical clearance. Once we get a medical clearance, we do janazah late at night. I don't know, you probably come, you probably come late at night. These brothers just come often here for janazah. And Ramadan we do late janazah here and things like that. So we have spotlight, floodlights and stuff like that. And you'll be surprised, we do janazah at 9 o'clock, you will have 400 people here show up for janazah. Right? Because they're available. You know, you do a 5 o'clock janazah, you're going to hardly have people, because it's traffic, people coming from work and stuff like that. The later we do janazah, we get more attendance.
Question. You don't know answer this, but you guys are volunteering or you get paid?
Like I just said, the volunteers,
You want no pay?
no pay. So there's nobody get a pay here. That is why, brother, when the brother mentioned to you, when the brother mentioned not to you, but in the class, he mentioned the difference in price. If a family, this person who passed away, if they had gone to Fred Hunter now, it would have been more than $15,000 because if they want it today, a Sunday, it's like $800 more to do a burial on a Sunday. And first of all, they want to get it Sunday for Sunday because they got to schedule staff and stuff like that to go out on a Sunday. So your bill at Fred Hunter starts at $15,000. And depends on what you want. And they have a whole bunch of pretty things inside that room. I don't know how much you ever went into the room at one of the funeral directors at Fred Hunter. They have all kind of nice memorabilia that you can do for your loved ones. And that's where they nail you with money. But the base price starts at $15,000. This facility charged $3,800. $3,800, right? The reason for that is not only myself, Brother Ghulam, Brother Rafiq, Brother Faisal, Brother Ari. There's about 10 of us on a regular basis who have in the text messages that will drop our work to come here to do this, to make sure that, because in some cases, brother, even $3,800 is too much for people. Like Brother Ghulam said, if you don't have money, we still have to bury you.
But Bill, how did you come up the unit price of $3,800? What's that entail?
Well, the cost of that crib, the cost of the funeral director, you know, all these, right, transportation involved. We have to, there's a pickup service that this person passed away in a hospital, home, or whatever. That person's in a 24-hour call. Tom will call that person out. There's a fee for that. That concrete thing, right, all that's part of the 30. Okay. That crib that you see there, there's cost for that. Maintenance of this facility have to factor in some way into that. You know, when you bury this person, even though we don't charge you or you pay the $3,800, that grass have to maintain forever. You don't want to pay your $3,800 and you're gone and that's it. Next week, somebody got to cut that grass. The following week, that grass got to cut. You know, all of these things, ongoing maintenance.
And there's still.
That's right. I mean, all of these things. It's not.
So why would Fred Hunter is a new name for me and don't seem to be Muslim?
Well, one second. Sorry.
So why would a Muslim go to Fred Hunter? Because that's a question.
Why they go to Fred Hunter? Okay, this facility started 7 years ago. This is only 7 years ago. Alhamdulillah, the people at Fred Hunter, they were very accommodating to the Muslim community. Very, very, very accommodating. If you know the history with our relationship with Fred Hunter, we still have to thank them for what they have done for our Muslim community. So a lot of people buy burial plot in advance and have it there. So they still go there. A lot of people, from way back, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, a lot of people have family member who's buried there. And they still want to go and bury next to the family. Right? So this is some of the reasons. This facility only started burying 7 years ago. But every year we get in more than the previous year. Every year we get in more than the previous year. All right, brother, I think they're waiting for us on the other side. So any other questions? So,
Thank you very much for the time.
All right, so I hope that the opportunity that we had was useful and that you guys got the benefit from seeing the procedure. Please know, just like we tell our kids, when you box in somebody like it doesn't hit back, it's a different experience from when you actually have a real human being and you have to bury somebody. It's a much more emotional and experience. So, but it's part of what we are required to do by our deen. Now, one brother just told me a joke. I wanted to share it to make it lighthearted. He said his wife wanted to go to a special place. Take me anywhere, you know. And he took her to the cemetery. She said, why bring me to the cemetery? He said, you know how many people would die to get here? The other part of it, after we have done Bayt the Dead, is we have to do Janazah. And the Janazah, you hear it every time they come to do the Janazah. What is important for you to do is to know that anytime you come to a Janazah, don't try to be a chief. Don't try to be somebody who now think they know more than everybody else and want to change the Janazah. Just follow the instructions of the Janazah people who's organizing it. because you don't want to make, quite often people will come and they suddenly jump out of the woodwork and they want to pass orders and tell people what to do. And you don't want to make a scene of the janazah, so sometimes you have to deal with these people quietly or differently and so on. So part of the janazah is, it has 4 takbirat. It's a very simple process. So when you say Allahu Akbar, now after this point you can clasp your hand. There's a difference of opinion among the imams about what to read after that. There's something called the sana, and then you hear people say Fatiha. Right? The Hanafi school of thought, which most of us belong to, do not consider janazah as salah. So there's a hadith which says every salah has to have surah Fatiha. There is no salah without Fatiha. We do not Fatiha. There's no salah without Fatiha. So the other 3 school of thought says they consider janazah as salah, so they said we have to pray Fatiha. So they will make Fatiha after you say Allahu Akbar, they'll pray Fatiha. The Hanafi consider janazah as dua, because they say it cannot be salah because there's no ruku, there's no sajda, so they don't classify it as salah, they classify it as dua, and so they read the sana, right? So you can pick one or the other, right? Then you say Allahu Akbar and then you read Durud Sharif, which all of us, we memorize from young. Then you say Allahu Akbar again and you make dua for the deceased. If you don't know, and we have in this paper all the words of each phase of it. If you don't know any dua, you say Allahumma makfirhu or hamhu. O Allah, have mercy on him or her, or you say makfirha. In Arabic, hu is masculine, ha is feminine. Say Allahumma makfirha or hamha. May Allah forgive her and have mercy on her. And then you say the last salam, and then the prayer gets finished. Now we have it detailed out. Now you will hear people screaming and shouting about the saf has to be odd number, and everybody is fidgeting, and you have all kinds of people trying to figure that out, right? The counting of the saf, the women's saf are not counted. So it doesn't matter how the women form. So you have 3 men's saf, and then you have a women's saf, they say, but that's 4. And we get all kinds of craziness, right? When the counting of the saf, it's the men you're counting alone, the men's saf, not the women. After 3, it doesn't really matter. You imagine you have 10,000 people praying janazah, we got to figure out odd number of saf. Who's going to go and do that? So you got people, you look around, hundreds of people, who's counting all these odd number of saf and see, oh man, we got to make sure it's odd. You won't finish janazah, but you take a whole day to just figure out how to get that right. So after 3 doesn't matter, right? So don't get involved in screaming, shouting. As long as you see 3 saf for the men, be comfortable. It doesn't matter what else follows, right? And the women saf don't really matter. So when you come, just follow those simple rules and we'll be fine. Now they will usually tell whoever is doing the janazah, or at that time they may say to the community, our brother or our sister, if they did anything wrong to you, please forgive them. And if they owe you any money, then please contact the family so that you could settle their debt. It's a very big thing in Islam that you don't want to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with debts. You have to settle your worldly account when you leave this world. So don't live a life where you're so much in debt that you die with the possibility of owing everybody. This is something that will meet you on Yawm al-Qiyamah, and you're in very bad situations. So live within your means, make sure you pay off your debts, whoever you owe. All right? That's real important. You don't want to have a debt with debt. Now, the body usually will be in the front. The imam will be there. If it's for men, it will be like towards the center. For women, it will be by the shoulder. If it's 2 bodies, men and women, they will make sometimes janazah for 3, 4, 5 people. You will usually put the male closer and the female further away. Those are details which you don't really need to bother yourself with. The main thing is to make sure that you show up for the janazah and you pray. For the men, when you go to the burial ground itself, you say Bismillah wa ala millati Rasulillah when the body is being lowered, in the name of Allah, and according to the tradition of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you will repeat those things. Now, a couple other quick things is that the issue of flowers and wreaths. Our religion does not really recommend that we bring flowers and wreaths. And there are many wisdom behind that. I'll just give you 3 quick ones. Number one, if you were allowed to have flowers, it ties the living to the dead. In Islam, when somebody dies, we don't want your life to stop because this person has passed away. This person came, they lived, they're moving on. Your life should now not be tied. Every week you got to buy fresh flower and come to the graveside, and every week. So your life gets impeded because of this person who passed away. Now you keep attaching yourself to this. This person came, they did their deeds, their hands in Allah. So you have to move on with your life. So by doing this flower stuff, it creates that problem because you're now tied perennially forever. Number 2, it's expensive. Islam always, in all of its rituals, cater for the poorest of the poor. If you look at every ritual of ours, except even for the Hajj, if you can't afford it, it's not compulsory on you. So our religion is really natural in that it facilitates even the poorest person, because flowers is very expensive. But number 3, we associate flowers with happiness, not sadness. So you don't want to get mixed up. You know, for us, flowers is happy occasion, not sadness. And of course, there are other issues with it too, with, you know, the industry of flowers and planting and all of that. But so, suffice to say, the reason why we do it is because it's not part of our deen, right? So we don't encourage that. Yet you will find Muslims will come, even here, they will come and bring flowers. If you see people doing that, don't become like an advocate now. I'm gonna become the flower police, you know. And so I'm gonna go there now on a rampage, and I'm gonna pull out everybody flower from the grave, and I'm gonna harass the person who brings flower. This is not how we teach our deen, right? So the person may not know, or the person may be defiant. We have had cases where people wanted to dress their dead in the suit and tie. They wanted to videotape the dead and all kinds of stuff. You have to deal with those people based on being understand that they don't understand the religion, and you have to educate them with diplomacy and with hikmah and so on. So for yourself, make sure you don't do that. But the funeral home has provided a beautiful will here that has, and get yourself a copy that tells you exactly how you want to be buried and so on. So you could have one of this. You could leave one in the funeral home, one with your family, one with the imam or whoever it is, so people are aware of your wishes, right? So that's really important. Lastly, when you go to the ground, sometimes this issue of 2 things. One, if you have collective dua at the janazah, this is not something that the Prophet ﷺ has. He mentioned that that our brother is, or sister is being questioned by an angel. You must ask Allah to give them patience. But it's an individual thing. Okay, so each of you stand by the grave and you make a dua and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will find some people who their cultural norms are that they want to make a collective dua. They want to recite Surah Yasin. They want to do many, many things at the grave. But the correct sunnah is really you make individual dua. All right. So if you see some person coming and they want to make collective dua, don't use that moment to fight people. All right. That's not a teaching moment. That's a moment when, you know, you got to help the person after the fact. So we've got to keep. That's why we have to have these seminars to begin to educate our people so they will do the right thing. And you don't pick up that fight at that moment when you're trying to bury somebody and you're trying to educate people that wrong and right. It gets very messy. You know, we have one brother, as soon as we bury him, he'll put a branch or something in the ground, and it creates, you know, I don't know who assigned you this, you know. So you get this kind of issues. Bill is going to talk a little bit about, before we close, about what happened. I think he probably did in the coffin and how you tore in the body and all of that, right? You did that in the thing. Okay, alhamdulillah. So all of you who are, now the other last issue is, can women come to the burial ground? You know, you have this big fight about whether the hadith really is about Aisha, and Aisha mentioned that the Prophet didn't allow, but the Prophet himself did not specifically say women are prohibited from the burial ground, right? So, but part of the reason why they're not encouraged is because women are very emotional, and they will sometimes behave in a manner that is not appropriate for that moment, because when somebody's final people is burying, and then you have a woman screaming there, and then you can't, there's no reasoning to that person, and it becomes an ugly situation. So generally we prefer the women stay at a distance. When you finish, they can come, you know, But some, if you do insist on coming, you cannot be stopped from doing that, right? But the recommendation by our scholars is that we prefer the women, let the men do this. And of course, the men, when the body is going, you take 3 handfuls of dirt. Minha khalaqnakum wa fiha nu'idukum wa minha nukhrijukum taratan ukhra. We are required to recite from this ayah from the Quran. We have it all in the paper here, so that we do that. Lastly, when the passing of anyone happens, there are a couple of things we need to know. It should get you to realize that don't delay anything that you have to do. Do it today. Tomorrow is not promised. Forgive people quickly. Don't delay forgiving somebody who may hurt you. Say, tomorrow I'm going to forgive you. Next week I'm going to forgive you. We have seen people, their moms passed away, and they said, oh gosh, I didn't get to tell my mom I forgive her, or something like that. And then they pass away. Do as much as you can each day, so that you can accomplish as much as you can in the world today. And live in the moment, and always live in a state of gratitude for what you have been given, and stop worrying about what you have not been given and out there. And lastly, share what you have, because tomorrow you will have to leave it all. So try to share as much goodness as you can with everyone as much as possible. And when you share, Allah gives you back. So we hope that you benefited today in some small way.